today I'm going to show you when to separate your parent convicts from their fry. Before I do that, I want to say thank you to everyone who's watching. Really appreciate the support. If you enjoy the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up for us. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. We'd love to have you on board. And if you want to see more from us, make sure you hit that bell for notifications. Thanks a lot, and let's get to it. As a general rule, between 3 and 4 weeks you want to separate the babies from the parents, and that's because the parents will be about ready to mate again by then. At the 4 weeks or 1 month after the last lot of babies, they're ready to mate again, and once they start breeding again and have more eggs and babies, they're very likely to eat the last batch to make room for the new ones. So there's not competition for the new ones in the tank. They'll just eat the old ones and they'll start again, start that breeding cycle. So the best thing to do is keep them in the tank with them for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So you get that stage where they look after them, bring them on, and then in between that 3 and 4 week mark, again it's going to vary a little bit depending on your fish and the size of the tank and if they've got places to hide, and it's nature, so it's not always an exact science. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit earlier, sometimes it'll be a bit later. So 3 weeks might be a safer mark, but I've just kept a really close watch on mine, and the parents are starting to colour up like they're getting ready to mate, and as soon as they start looking like they're ready to breed again, that's a good indication you need to get those babies out. Now with this one, as is pretty typical with convicts, they've had a very big batch of fry. There's around about 200 fry in that little tank. So rather than try and catch all the little babies, which will take ages, I'm just going to take the 2 big parents out. So I'll move the parents into their own new tank and I'll leave the babies in the old tank. The babies will be right together. They'll have that tank for ages while they grow on, and once they grow I'll have to move them when they're a bit bigger. But for now I'm just going to move the parents out, put them in another new tank, and they'll probably just breed again for me straight away. A good way to know if they're breeding is first of all the colour. Especially the females get a little bit more colour up underneath, and they'll also start digging out a little hollow or a cave, and they'll start laying their eggs. Once they lay their eggs, it's going to get dangerous for the old babies. They were all tiny little itty bitty things that the mother looked after for a while, and they're starting to get big now. I mean, they're still really small, but they're so much bigger than they were. They're right to be on their own now. I've just been feeding them a mixture of Hikari pellets crushed up into almost powder, just really small so it's easy for the babies to eat, and also flake food, because that's so easy to break up. I just break that up in between my fingers into almost a little powdery form and put that in there, and the babies love it. So they've been growing really well for me, and I'm surprised how many I've got there. They're just all albinos by the look of it. You can see how tiny those little bubs are. They're only a quarter of that size a couple of weeks ago, so they're growing really quick. I've got a new tank already set up, ready to go. All I have to do is take the parents out and put them straight into the new tank. That new tank's been cycled, it's got a pump and a heater and everything going in it already, and it's important when you move your fish that you make sure the temperatures are very similar, so they're not going from either cold to warm or the other way around, so it's too much of a shock. Try and get the water very close to the same temperature, the same pH, and that way you can make the shock a little less for them and make the whole transition a little bit easier. I've already got water from the new tank in the bottom of this bucket, and then I always take a bit of water out of the tank they're in, do half and half, and that'll just climatise them, get them used to the new water a little bit. so they're not just going straight from something different into something, so they're not just going from old water into completely new water. Alright, I'm going to have to take everything out. After I've sorted these parents out, I'll give the babies a water change too. Not a full water change, probably just about 30%. As a general rule with your fish tanks, the best way to keep your little fish growing well is to keep nice regular water changes. You want to do, as a rough rule, about 20% water change every week. Again, that depends on what sort of filter you're running, what size tank, what sort of fish. If they're messier fish, you want to do a little bit more or a little bit more often. If you've got really good filtration system, you won't have to do that as much. But a little bit of a water change, even just 20%, is a little bit like opening up a window in the house and letting some fresh air in. If you keep all the windows and all the doors shut and you've got the same air all the time, it starts to get real stale and it's not real nice. It's the same in a fish tank. And the new tank is ready for them to go. So here's one I prepared earlier. I put a little cave in it so they can breed again if they want. A couple of little hidey holes, a good filter, some nice clean water, and I've set the new tank up underneath the flower horn tank. Basically, I'm running out of room up here. These adults are acclimatised now, they're used to that water. I'm just going to tip them straight into the new tank. And there we go. The parents are in their new tank. They've got a fresh tank if they want to breed again. And the babies are all safe in their own tank now. So they're going to grow up a little bit first. I'll grow them on and see how they look in another few weeks. I'll give you an update. Thanks a lot. Take time for the simple joys, everyone. Bye.